In the repair shop today, Susie gets some miniature millinery back on top form.
I'm not really into bling, but I feel that this deserves something a little special. Yes, that's what I want.
While Kirsten prays for divine intervention, trying to rebuild a saintly statue that suffered an unholy breakage.
I've got a nasty feeling that actually there's going to be quite a lot missing. That's going to make it more problematic when I actually stick it together.
First into the repair shop today is Andrew Denley and wife Sheila from Sussex. They're hoping master of all things mechanical, Steve Fletcher,
hello,
can fix a little childhood novelty with big memories attached.
Hi, Andrew.
Nice to meet you, Steve.
Hello, Sue.
Hi, Jay.
You all right? So what have we got in the box?
What we have here is a 1917 vintage toy howitzer cannon. Ooh. And it belonged to my grandfather. He bought it with his pocket money in 1917.
OK.
1917?
1917. Whoa. He was 11 then, through the First World War, so what else would a boy want but something that fires a shell?
All right.
This is the original box lid, and the hole here was caused by my grandfather firing the shells at the box.
Oh, my word. So there's quite a lot of force?
A lot of force in those shells, yes.
Whoa.
But it goes 12 feet. That's quite far, isn't it? That's for a little thing like that.
It is, yeah. Mm-hmm. And these are quite heavy as well.
Yeah.
This seems quite a serious toy. I say serious, but borderline dangerous.
Health and safety hadn't been invented, really.
Yeah.
The cartridge would go onto this loading bay like so, and the shell would be pushed on top, and you'd clip it round. This is the dangerous part, because it's on the spring.
OK, dangerous.
That would then go into the barrel and locate, there's a pinhole here. And this is the breech door, and that would have been on with a pin.
OK,
and the idea was
yes.
that when you turn the handle,
it triggers it.
It would trigger, fires the shell.
Shoots it out.
Shoots it out.
Yeah.
That's what should happen, but I could never get the door to engage with the firing spring.
OK. So what sort of man was your grandfather?
He was a very strong man and a very kind man. He'd spent 50 years in the Merchant Navy. He went through Dunkirk, D-Day landings.
Yeah.
He'd sailed the seven seas before the war even started.
Right.
He was full of stories which were just super to listen to. I mean, he was a real storyteller. At 9 years old, his stories just fired my imagination. We spent a lot of time together. He was just absolutely my hero. Sadly, he didn't live very long after he retired, so I never got to know him as I grew older.
Right.
His stories inspired me to then spend most of my life travelling and also train to be an officer in the Merchant Navy. So he had a remarkable effect on my life.
So this is the only link you have?
That's the only link, really, from my grandfather, yeah.
How are you going to feel about having a live cannon in your house?
Well, as long as the cat's not target practice, we should be OK. No, I think it'd be lovely. It'd be great, yeah. He's got a very strong family history, and I think it's a wonderful thing to preserve.
I think it's a great piece, really. And I think if I can get it working, I'm going to have some fun.
So, thank you for bringing it in.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah. Bye-bye now.
Guys, take care now. Bye-bye.
I'm going to miss the cannon because it hasn't been out of the family in all these years. To see it working again would be really quite something special, having never seen it work properly.
It's quite lethal, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, I'm thinking, actually, if that shoots that out, if it goes 12 foot, if it hits you from about here, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, that's going to hurt. So, no instructions. You've never done it before, but I know you can do it.
I don't know. I honestly don't know, because there are bits missing.
Right.
And it's made of a soft lead-based alloy.
Okay.
So I can't put any heat on it because it'll just melt.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I want to fire it.
I know you do. No time. You'll be having it fixed. And firing again.
OK.
All right.
I've had a good look at this cannon now.
the door that should go on the back of the cannon. I think it's the breech. I've got to make a lever that actually closes that and keeps it closed. And I've also got to repair this part of the hinge to hold the breech in place. I've also had a look at the triggering device, and I think I can repair that, but I'm going to have to design pieces that I'm not sure how they work until I've got it on and it's working. So, yeah, there's a lot to this whole job, but it's going to be fun to do. It's going to be fun to repair. The first thing I need to do is start taking it apart as far as I can.
While Steve sets to work on the vintage boy's toy, outside are sisters Pam and Frances. They've brought a treasured curiosity for the attention of leather expert Susie Fletcher.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. Nice to see you.
How you doing? I'm Jay.
Lovely to meet you. I'm Susie.
I'm Frances.
So what have you got for us?
It's an inkwell,
Okay.
and I used to play with it as a child because that bit fascinated me.
Oh, yeah. It's absolutely beautiful. I love this. I can see as a child why you'd be drawn to keep wanting to play with it.
It was covered in leather and it had a brim on like a trilby.
Okay. An inkwell in the shape of a hat. Okay. Right.
So why is this important to you guys?
Well, it belonged to our grandmother.
Right.
And she obviously passed it on to my mother when she died. She was killed in 1940
Right.
by a cyclist.
Oh, really?
Of all things.
Good Lord.
And, yeah, it was very sad.
Yeah.
That's why I think my mother held on to it.
Oh, okay.
Because it was something her mother used.
Yeah.
And so the mother gave it to me because I used to play with it as a child. It's probably why it's like this. It really is the only thing that I would call an heirloom that has come through the family.
And what would you like Susie to do?
Well, I'd love to have a brim back.
Yeah.
And turn it into a hat. That would be marvellous.
Okay. So I see there's a button missing here.
That's right. That used to open the top of the hat.
Oh, I see. So you press that and that releases.
Yes, and that used to...
Okay.
Okay.
Do you know where the button is?
No. I don't know what I've done with the button.
Oh, you've done something with the button. There you go.
I think some years ago.
Confession time, isn't it?
Yeah.
The reason why this is broken because of you.
Tell always the naughty one, can't you?
You can.
I thought I might like to keep the little pot with the remnants of the ink.
Oh, yeah, so we don't touch
Be nice.
any of that. And then what about the metalwork on the inside here?
Oh, I don't know if you can polish it, make it look a bit nice.
Okay.
So if Susie's able to repair it and turn it back into a hat with a button,
With button.
okay, what are you going to do with it?
I'm going to pass it down to my daughter,
Okay.
down to the generations.
Yes.
So thank you, ladies,
Thank
for
you.
bringing it in.
No, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can't
Thank you
enough.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
I've never actually seen it as a hat. It's always had its brim missing. So I think it'll be wonderful to have it looking as it should. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Be
be
good,
really
won't
nice,
it? Really
yeah.
nice.
That's a sweet story, isn't it?
I
And this
love
little
it.
thing.
I really love it. I love the fact that even though it's missing lots of pieces, it's still pretty much all together. All the metalwork's there. We've got something to work with.
Yeah.
I sort of know the shape it needs to be, so that's going to be fun.
Okay.
But yeah, it's needing a little bit of help.
So the button, you can't make the hat onto the buttons, then?
No,
is it?
I can't. I can't. So I think I better go and speak to Steve very nicely and see if he can maybe bump it up on his list of jobs to do today.
All right, go and have a word
All
with him
right,
then.
thank you.
All right.
Steve may already have his hands full with the miniature cannon, but he can't say no to Sister Susie.
Yeah. I've got a huge favour to ask of you. I've got this lovely little inkwell. There should be a button here.
Okay.
It'll have a band of leather around it.
Yeah. Oh, so you push the leather?
Yes, you'll be pushing
And the
leather. So that
button's underneath?
Yes, yes.
I've got it.
So if you could, by any chance, do that now, because
No.
I can't do my part until your part is done.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
The little button goes into this hole here. If I can find a little nut. I've got a feeling that it's just a button that just protrudes a little bit so that once you press that, it will release this top. I'll make up a nice button to go in there. Yeah. I'll just tidy the button up. Let's have a look. Good.
Oh, yeah.
Right, I'm very excited about this.
Okay.
Look at this.
Wow. That's amazing. I love it. Oh, nice. Well done. Now I've got to do a really beautiful job with all the leather.
Yeah. All right, get on with it then.
All right, thanks a lot.
With his brotherly duty on the inkwell complete, Steve can return to the toy cannon, reattaching the door on the back.
The lead that holds the hinge pin has actually disintegrated. I did think that I wouldn't put any heat on this because there is a risk that it's just going to melt and that would be catastrophic. But I've got some low temperature solder that I'm going to attempt to put on here, and hopefully I can build it up until I can create a big lump of solder there that I can actually drill through ready for the pin. This first bit of solder is really, really scary. I've got to be really, really careful that I don't overheat it, otherwise it will just melt. Ooh. I am so relieved that's actually worked.
Steve repeats the process, building up layer upon painstaking layer of solder until it's thick enough to create a new hinge.
I'm really pleased at the way that this worked out. I was able to shape it up really well and drill through as well. And now I have a perfect hinge. Now all I need to do is make up the lever or bracket or whatever it's called that actually holds this in place. Good, this is looking good. I've just finished it off with some very, very fine emery. I'm going to try it now and make sure it's all fitting well and does the job it's supposed to. Absolutely perfect. Very, very, very pleased with that. The breech closes onto the barrel, and then this lever comes round to hold the breech really nice and tightly in place. I absolutely love making components like this, especially when it works. That's great, and it looks great, and I'm sure that's more or less how it's supposed to have been. That's excellent, lovely.
With the door opening and closing properly, Steve can turn his attention to the all-important firing mechanism.
So we've got these firing cartridges. This is the breech, which is the back of the gun, and you've got these two little pieces of metal here that are supposed to turn this bent piece of wire to release the bullet. At the moment, this firing device it gets to about there, so it misses this piece of wire completely. So I think I'm going to actually make another piece that comes out like that and actually bends round at the top, so that it'll actually meet those two little pieces of metal there. Good. That's going to work really well, actually.
Steve's rebuilt the mechanism, but will it work? This is the first time the cannon's been fired properly in over 50 years.
Yes. That's working really well. Next job is just to put some permanent hinge pins in and colour everything up and get it polished, and then it'll all be done.
The toy cannon may be up and firing again, but outside, 2 more visitors have arrived with a fresh challenge. Caroline Morson.
Hello. How are we? I'm Jay. Nice to meet you. Likewise.
Hi. And President of the Friends of St Mark's Hospital, Professor John Northover. They're hoping ceramics expert Kirstin Ramsey can help resurrect an important icon that's been a symbol of hope to many.
So, tell us about this, what we've got.
Okay, this is a statuette of St Fiacre, who was an Irish hermit monk in the 7th century. St Fiacre had this big flat stone, and he sat on it one day, and the stone softened, so there was a depression in it, the shape of his bottom. Yeah.
Really?
Miracle.
Okay, a miracle, yeah.
And so patients with haemorrhoids and 1 or 2 other conditions of the nether region will come and sit in this depression and get cured.
Wow.
And he actually became patron saint of the victims of haemorrhoids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I'm a colorectal surgeon from St Mark's Hospital for Bowel Disorders. It's the bowel's equivalent of Great Ormond Street.
Okay.
And our pathologist back in the last part of the 20th century was a chap called Basil Morson, who's internationally one of the greatest pathologists that ever lived.
Right.
He had a big interest in St Fiacre, and he donated this to the hospital in 2003.
So, Caroline, what's your link to the statue?
Well, I'm Caroline Morson, and my father, Basil Morson, was the person that commissioned this statue. When I was about 13, and we were dragged off on a pilgrimage to the village of St Fiacre, to the place where he lived.
And is the stone still there as well? The stone that people... is still there, yeah?
We all sat on it.
Okay.
Preventive.
Preventive measures, OK, right.
That's just delightful. So, do you know what sort of fired his interest initially?
He had a deep Catholic faith, and he gave a lot of his life to his research in pathology.
As a direct result of his work, we've now got bowel cancer screening in this country. You can actually prevent bowel cancer on the basis of his work.
What a legacy. That's extraordinary.
And although it's not exactly Michelangelo's David, it's quite important to us because of that link to Basil Morson. It was fractured some years ago, broken in half, vandalised, and somebody at the hospital stuck it back together in a rather inept way.
Right.
And then we heard that some kids were throwing stones at it, and he'd been broken in half again.
It is really sad, isn't it?
It's hard to understand why somebody would want to do that.
Yes. Yeah. Where are you going to put it once it's actually been restored?
We want him to be back in the middle of the hospital, in the centre of our community, where he can be protected.
You can't throw something like that away.
No.
Absolutely
no, you
not.
Can't.
No.
Not with the history that it's linked to. It's linked to your father. Well, thank you for bringing him in.
It's a great pleasure.
I look forward to working on it, actually.
Okay,
thank you very much. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
We've all got great memories of Basil Morson, and seeing the statue as it is very sad.
Seeing it cracked in half was like living my father's death again. Well, I'm keen to get the statue fixed because it's a way of bringing back the memories. There's a wholeness that is more than just the physical statue.
Having it back in the hospital, we'll remember him every day as we walk past it.
There's a patron saint for almost everything, isn't there?
Absolutely, but I didn't know that there was one for haemorrhoids, I have to say. Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah. And obviously, it's in 2 pieces. I'm going to have to try and get that back together again.
Yeah.
And then there's all these sort of additional chips.
That's where the vandals have been throwing
stones,
isn't it?
Absolutely awful.
So, we'll get to your bench.
Are you all right to take that for me?
Of course I am.
Thank you.
It's heavy,
Cheers.
isn't it?
Before Kirsten can get to work on mending St Fiacre, she must first prep the surface by carefully cleaning away years of dirt and grime.
I started off with just some dry brushing, which was quite effective for sort of removing the loose dirt that's built up over the years. I don't want to actually take it back to the actual just concrete surface because I think it's actually developed quite a nice sort of patina. The back of the statue, it's got this sort of mould growing on it, so I'm quite keen to remove that. So I'm just giving the surface a little scrub and then blotting it, and you can see that the green is coming off. Oh, there's absolutely loads coming off there, it's great.
Over on her workbench, leather expert Susie is determined to faithfully restore the little hat inkwell back to its best.
I have been fortunate enough to research this, and I found a copy of the original, what they should look like, and that's given me a great guide as I move through this process. So the first thing I need to do is to cover the cap. The leather that I'm going to cover it with is incredibly thin, and it drapes over, so it's so thin it should be easily stretched into the 3-dimensional shape that I need it to cover. It's really interesting that the Victorians took an everyday item and went to all this effort to make it so decorative. I think it's really nice. So what I'm going to do now is just position it here. And this is just a case of pulling it gently down and around. Now I can move on to making the rim. So I've got this really wonderful material. I can cut and shape by heating it up. Yeah, so it's just a little quirky. It's not a dramatic effect, but it's just enough to give it a little bit of extra something.
Once the glue is dry, Susie can trim off the excess leather.
Okay, good. Now I'm going to attach it to the rim. this glue, once it's set, you're not really going to get it undone. This piece of leather is going to go over the top. And I'm going to start gluing these little petals on the side here, get them secure, and then I can start securing the rest of it. So I'm now just going to trim around. I'm just going to wrap the edge of the leather over this rim here. Just stretch it over, ironing it down. Okay, so that's the top done. I'm getting really excited and fingers crossed it's going to continue going well.
It's been all guns blazing over on Steve's workbench. As restoration complete, he is applying some finishing touches to the 1917 toy cannon.
This is looking really great. It's all working beautifully. I'm sure Andrew's going to be really, really pleased with this.
Eager to be reunited with the emblem of youthful escapades, as well as the memories of his grandfather, Andrew is back to collect the toy cannon, accompanied by his wife, Sheila.
Hello.
Hello, Steve.
Nice to see you again. Hello.
You too. Good to see you.
Hi. This has been quite a nice project.
Is it?
Interesting.
Well, it was in a pretty sorry state. It had been in a sorry state for as long as I can remember.
I can't wait for you to see it. So,
Nor can I, actually.
I'm going to show you.
Wow. Good Lord. It's in one piece. Wow. Can I,
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
The door's on.
And you've made a new piece for this? That is absolutely superb. That's what it would have looked like when my grandfather had it way back in 1917, 100 years ago.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely superb. I'm speechless. Thank you very, very much indeed. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now, dare I ask, does it fire?
Well, first of all, I need to give you some safety glasses.
Didn't wear these when I was 10.
A bit of a target there. Would you like to have a go at firing it?
Yes, if I may.
Okay. Julie, Amanda, could you
So glad you
move?
said that.
Yeah, a light and the light of fire. Okay. Way! Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Fantastic. That's the first time ever in my life I've seen it do that. I think if my grandfather were around, he'd be absolutely tickle pink. Absolutely remarkable. A 100-year-old toy firing shells again after all this time. He'd be, tears would be rolling down his face.
Brilliant.
I'm sure.
There we are.
Super. Thanks very much again.
You're very, very welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now. It's like Christmas Day all over again, really. Steve has done the most fantastic job. To think I'm now seeing this model howitzer as it would have looked when my grandfather first had it in 1917. I'm so over the moon. Very moving.
With the surface of the St Fiacre statue now clean enough to be worked upon, Kirsten can turn her attention to reuniting the two broken halves, starting with undoing the previous repairs.
Seems to be like two types of adhesive on here, and the first sort of layer that's actually up against the statue is almost like chewing gum. It's really, really rubbery, so it's actually proving quite difficult to remove. Patience of the Saints springs to mind. It's amazing actually how much time you actually spend undoing previous restorations. I probably spend more time taking things apart than I do doing anything else. And sometimes I enjoy it and sometimes I don't. I still haven't really got a handle on how much is missing when I put the two pieces together. I've got a nasty feeling that actually there's going to be quite a lot missing, and that's going to make it more problematic when I actually stick it together. That's the surface now cleared. My thumb's really sore. I can move on to the next stage, offering up the pieces and seeing what I've got to work with. Unfortunately, there are some quite large sections here that have been lost. The main thing really is to actually get a good bond. This is quite a heavy piece, and I'm going to be using a concrete adhesive, which hopefully will take the weight of this. This is probably a first actually in the repair shop, a concrete piece, and it makes quite a nice change for me to work on something like this. Quite often I'm sort of fiddling around with very sort of minute detail with porcelain, and this is just, yeah, makes a nice change. Right, so I'm just going to mix these two parts together. Right, a moment of truth. So I'm now going to offer up the top section. The next thing is to actually try and keep it in place. So I'm actually going to use bandages, very appropriate considering it comes from the hospital. He seems to be very, very stable, perched on the top there. So it's quite a relief to see him back like that.
Only when the adhesive has cured will Kirsten find out if she has successfully and sturdily reunited the two broken halves.
It's always slightly nerve-wracking, especially with something like this that's actually so heavy because it's concrete. That feels absolutely fine.
Kirsten can now fill in the missing areas using an epoxy clay.
Once I've actually got this section flat, I can then start to put in these lines to mimic the original concrete finish.
Now the missing pieces have been filled, Kirsten can start camouflaging her repairs.
Sometimes I do find myself retouching in a little bit of dirt, a little bit of green. It's quite a magical moment because this is where the work that I've done actually just starts to hopefully disappear and blend in, and it's, for me, a really enjoyable part.
Having also reached the finessing stage of her repair, Susie is almost ready to return the hat inkwell.
All that remains for me to do is to make a leather hat band that will glue in place and hold the button that opens the mechanism in place. So I feel that this beautiful brown leather would look really nice in a contrast to it. So I just need to cut this to size and get it glued on. So I've got it around where the hatband needs to sit. Now the important thing is to put the button in. There we go. It's in place. That's going to come over like that. And I've got one finishing touch. I'm not really into bling, but I feel that this deserves something a little special. Right, let's see. Well done. It's good. It's in place. Yes, that's what I want. I hope Pam is going to be very pleased with this.
Sisters Pam and Frances have fond memories of playing with the inkwell as children. Now they've returned to see if Susie has managed to restore it back to crowning glory.
The inkwell belonged to our grandmother, and our mother loved that inkwell, and so I'm just pleased that we can get it mended so that I can pass it on to my daughter.
Hello again.
Hello.
How you doing? You all right?
Yes, thank you. Nice to see you.
Lovely to see you, Frances. Hi, Pam. You doing all right?
Yes, thank you.
Jolly
Are you
good.
excited?
Are you?
You can't wait. Look, your hand's so close to
I
it.
know. Yeah.
We should just show us.
I think so.
Yeah?
Yep,
Ready?
let's do it.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? Oh, I say. Oh. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Oh, aren't you clever?
Thank you.
How does he open?
Okay, so you hold it here. That's where the button is.
That's it. Oh, look. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that. It is fantastic. Can I do it again?
Of course you can.
Like a kid with a new toy.
Yeah.
We're so easily pleased.
I know. I can't believe that. Cannot believe it. Looks superb.
Yeah.
Well, I hope my mother, Henrietta, and my grandmother, Elizabeth, are watching down on us, because they would be so pleased with this, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They'd be absolutely chuffed with it.
Absolutely fantastic. Look
So
at that.
thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Your skills are just amazing.
Oh.
So thank you.
Well, it's all yours now. You can take it out.
Fantastic.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank
Bringing
you.
it in.
Oh,
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
thank you
No,
very
thank you
much.
to these guys.
Thanks, Pam.
Thank you.
Take care now.
Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well done, you, eh? You feel better?
Yes, I do. Gosh. Yeah. Oh, it's made my day.
I'm absolutely ecstatic. I just can't believe it's the same one that we brought in. It just looks amazing. And the inside's just superb. My eldest sister's going to tell me off if I keep pinging it too much, because we don't want to ruin it. So, yeah, very pleased. Very pleased indeed.
This is lovely.
Over on the ceramics workbench, Kirsten is also in the home straight with her meticulous restoration of the St Fiacre statue.
Hello.
Hello.
True artist has never done.
You timed that very well, actually.
You have done an amazing job on that.
Thank you.
I think John and Caroline are going to be quite shocked to see it. Well, as one,
Yeah, absolutely.
you've done it again. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, so all I've got to do now is get this boxed up and sent off to St Mark's Hospital.
That would be great if you
Is
can
that
do
cool?
that. Yeah, lovely.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm going to let John and Caroline know, but can I take... Okay, I can't take this. No.
Do you know what? I'm absolutely fine. I'll take it. Thanks, though,
All
Joe.
right, go on then.
The St Fiacre statuette, commissioned by Basil Morson, is ready to be wrapped and transported back home to St Mark's Hospital in London. Basil's daughter Caroline and colleague Professor John Northover are eagerly awaiting its return.
Dr Basil Morson was a celebrated pathologist. He's known worldwide. He donated a statue of St Fiacre to the hospital. The last time I saw St Fiacre, he was in a complete mess. He was in pieces, and I'm hoping that he's going to come back as if he had never been away, but in a beautiful state.
I was heartbroken when I saw that it was broken in two and very chipped, and Not really very recognisable. I know my father would have been very upset, especially in his old age. I think, in a way, St Mark's is his lifeblood, really. So it's a bit symbolic, this statue coming to life again.
Well, this is a very special day for St Mark's. Everybody on the staff and all the patients know that St Fiacre was coming home today, and a lot of people have said that I've got to be extremely careful as I take this blanket off, not to pull him off his plinth. So here we go.
Well, congratulations to Kirsten, she's a wizard. It's superb. Well, I know Daddy will be overjoyed.
Isn't that absolutely fantastic? Last time I saw him, he was in pieces in the garden. I've looked at it extremely carefully. And as a surgeon, I'm used to looking at wounds. And I absolutely cannot see where the crack was. It's such a wonderful job that she's done.
Well, I'm deeply moved. Near tears. I mean, it's just beyond my expectations. It's beautiful.